Coming up on Talk is Cheap, we take a phone call from Lauren Hansen, who wants me to research the dog-headed men. Up next on Talk is Cheap. Of Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk and talk is still cheap. I'm Dan Hohlfeld. Thank you so much for joining me. To my left here is Pete Halbleib.
How's it going, Dano?
Not too bad.
Good.
Enjoying the summer weather.
Yes, it has been nice out. Garden's looking good, so I'm happy about that.
Ooh. What's your favorite vegetable?
Well, I'm going to say tomatoes, but
Tomato.
Tomatoes are a fruit, not a vegetable. I get it, but you would never serve tomato in a fruit salad. So that's my absolute favorite summertime item I can grow. If I had to pick a true vegetable, well, you can get into the weeds here because cucumbers are technically still vegetables, but I'll go with a pepper because I do like peppers as well, like sweet peppers, hot peppers, that sort of stuff.
I'm pretty big on the zucchini myself because I got the vegan diet, so we eat a lot of that stuff.
Are you allowed to eat pickled stuff on your diet?
Yeah,
and because I have been the last few years I have been experimenting with a pickled zucchini recipe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's really good. It's kind of like a regular cucumber pickle, but they're a lot more tender and the seeds aren't as big.
Was it last year you had the hot pickle or whatever?
Yeah, the ghost pepper pickles. I'll make another batch of those, and and I'll make another batch of those this year too, and bring them in, and we can have another sampling for the audience.
I think we were fine for a while, then just got hotter and hotter.
Yeah, and the ghost pepper got its name partly, and it's boot jolokia, I think is the technical term or whatever, or the original name. But the ghost pepper, it got its name because it sneaks up on you, and it's hiding, and the more you eat, the hotter it gets, and the hotter it gets, and so it's like eerie, like a ghost. So
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So anyway,
so ladies and gentlemen, we got our voicemail number. Don't be afraid to call in. That's 256-510-5234. That's 256-510-K2D4. Leave a message. Say hi. We got a topic suggestion. I'm gonna save that for the episode we aired on. I actually have one tonight I'm gonna do. So that'll be interesting. If you don't want us to say your name or anything on air, this is just a private message for me. Just say so in the beginning so I know right away not to air it. Keep it to 1 minute or less. And all standard rates apply. This is in Alabama, so if it's long distance for you, it will be. But maybe you can make your own Google number and get by that rates that way. So,
or just keep it under a minute, and maybe it's worth 45 cents for the long distance rate.
Yeah, I don't think it would cost too much, but
no, not for a minute or less, I don't think.
My uncle was bickering about calling down to work the other day. He's like, "That's long distance." Okay.
So it's so sorry you can't afford the dollar to talk to your nephew.
So we got a call here from Sammy in Los Angeles.
Hey guys, love the show. This is Sammy from Los Angeles calling. I have questions. What are your theories on all of the phenomenon of the booms and the flashes that have been going on over the past couple of years? Love to hear your feedback on that. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Oh,
so booms and flashes.
That's a great topic suggestion. Wisconsin just had that last summer. I actually
covered this in an episode before.
I think you did, didn't you? Yeah.
It was back when we did 3 per episode.
Yep. Yeah. Way back when. And, I think you could even just expand this to include those. Oh, what are they? There's a clever name, but the horn sound that they hear.
Yeah, trumpet.
The trumpet. Yeah. There's a clever name. I forget. It's been so long.
Biblical stuff.
Yeah. And there's a lot of biblical references in it, and there's a lot of videos out there of just people in cities or just out and about, and all of a sudden you hear this giant huge trumpet sound come through.
And sometimes it almost sounds like a machine, like a freaking what's Transformers.
Yeah.
It's scary stuff.
And I know the booms and flashes are awesome too, because I have heard about those as well. Yeah. Lots of theories on that.
Yeah, so the flashes could be, we're going through the solar system and maybe we're entering this high point of energy. Everybody said the event was supposed to happen already. It didn't. Well, for some people it did. Some people it didn't. I don't know why. I thought it was supposed to be everybody at once. Whatever. We're going through this in our galaxy, so we're hitting this higher energy. Therefore, we're hearing all this other stuff happen and starting to raise our consciousness up. And yeah, you can see on some of the radar charts on the maps that there's definitely some flashing going on there. So what's causing it? I think just the frequency. Same thing for the sounds. You know, the planet's going through a different dimensional shift.
Yep.
And then some say it's faked. So
Yep. And plate tectonics have come into that too, you know, and there's as for the audible stuff, you know, plate tectonics and stuff has come into conversation. But you know what, Sammy, we'll give it a look and we'll come back and see what we can come up with. Thanks for the suggestion. That's a good one. I like that one.
We have a contest here, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
We should probably talk about that.
Yeah. You know, we talked about the voicemail line. I like to call it the K2D4 hotline. If you don't want to leave a topic or say kind words about us, for those that have been following along, people like to complain about our catchphrase, our slogan, or our, what do you want to call it? Yeah, slogan?
Yeah, it's our slogan, our tagline,
right?
whatever.
Tagline, whatever you want to call it. Which is talk is cheap, where cheap is talk and talk is cheap.
Yep.
So we've decided to let our viewers take a stab at creating a new slogan for us. And if they
succeed,
right? And also, or if you like it the way it is, convince us to keep it. But y'all will have a chance to win. Here, let me get her in the camera. This really cool. It is a metal sign.
Yeah,
talk is cheap.
That's not cardboard, folks.
Yeah, no, this is not cardboard or cheap plastic. And it's got a super heavy-duty weatherproof sticker on it. You can put it on a post. Let your neighbors know you're a Talk is Cheap fan. And we're going to autograph it. It's not autographed yet. We haven't actually heard any suggestions yet. So keep it going. And we'd love to hear from you. And you could be the winner of awesome Talk is Cheap sign.
You do have to call in and tell us. Don't email, because that's part of the contest. You actually have to call in to the call-in number here.
Yeah, we don't want any Russian bots emailing us for this Talk is Cheap sign, because I hear we're huge in the former Soviet Union.
One suggestion per person, so make it count.
Yes.
I don't need like 5 coming from the same person.
Yep. Give us your best shot, and we are going to run the contest till we decide, A, to select a new slogan, or B, to decide that all of your suggestions suck and we're not taking any of them.
I thought we would do the drawing on the 100th episode.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, how about we make a decision on the 100th? Because if we get just crap suggestions, we're not going to change it to Talky McTalkface or something like that, you know?
Well, if we don't like, if we don't like what we have, we won't go with it.
Yeah, if we don't like any of the suggestions, we're not doing it.
But I'm sure we got some smart people out there in the audience. They'll come up with something.
And especially those that have been complaining about it, let's hear what you got. But we do have a great, intelligent viewership, and we appreciate hearing from you.
Yeah, so that number again is 256-510-5234. That's 256-510 K2D4. Now I got one more call. This is going to lead us right into the topic. This is from Lauren Hansen in South Carolina.
One of our top viewers. Always like to hear from Lauren.
Oh, yes.
That's awesome.
Hey guys, Talk is Cheap. This is Lauren Hansen of Spartanburg, South Carolina, also known as Quantum Explorer. So in one episode, Dan mentioned that if somebody called the number and left a message about an episode or a topic they would like to see covered on the episode, that he would most assuredly cover that topic.
Oh,
so,
Dan guaranteed it.
My favorite thing to do ever since watching the show over a year ago was to request topics. So I would really like to see you guys cover the dog-headed men, and they're called cynocephaly. They are within the mythological and lore sphere. However, there is historical record of these dog-headed men, all the way from ancient Greece through the Middle Ages, through medieval times, and even artwork and everything depicting these dog-headed men. And they're supposed to be somewhere, below humans, but more, greater than animals or something to that effect. So would definitely be interested in you guys' take on what you uncover about them. So thank you very much. Love the show, as always, and much love and namaste.
That was nice. Lauren, that was really awesome. And a great topic, too. That's really cool.
It is great.
I have a feeling, though, that Dan is going to take this in a different direction that I, as a undiscovered forest primate enthusiast, would take it. Because in the Bigfoot realm, you always hear about the Dogman as well.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So...
Okay, well, we'll see what we come up with here.
This is great. Awesome suggestion. I can't wait.
So, dog-headed men, that's all, as she said, it's also cynocephaly. Cyno meaning dog, cephaly of the head.
Oh, okay.
So, the biggest one that we all know is the Egyptian god Anubis, god of death and embling. I got it up here on screen. I mean, these are all very familiar.
Death and embalming. Interesting.
Why would they, do this? I know they always had the big mass or whatever for some of this stuff, but when you look into it, this stuff goes way back in history. The writings of St. Augustine, Alexander the Great, Marco Polo, Christopher Columbus.
They all reference
Yes, they do.
the dog-headed men.
Yep.
Did
Like there's quotes. I'll go through some quotes and shit here.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But the thing is, there's no skeletal remains public. So what does that mean? Is the government covering this up just like they are with giants? We don't have
And
supposedly
Sasquatch. I'm going to keep the Sasquatch.
Yeah.
We're talking about dog-headed men. I'm sorry, Dan. I'm going to have to interject Sasquatch stuff during this conversation. Absolutely. But they would not release that. Could you imagine what that would do to the major religions on the planet?
Yeah, I know. Well, some people couldn't handle it regardless.
Yeah.
You got a fierce beast out there.
Yeah. Oh, then there's that. Yeah, the public panic and oh my gosh, this is out there. Yeah. Okay.
So the earliest known reference, now there's a picture I got up on screen. I don't know if this is the exact one they're talking about, but that's what they had. So this was in Libya, carved into a boulder on a cliff of a plateau 4,000 years ago. Now they say it's got a dog-headed human carrying a club. I can't see that there myself, unless I'm missing it. I see.
Could be the lower right one, maybe.
But they also said that there's an elephant human removing a mask. I don't see any of that. So maybe this is just not the picture. I got a little ticked off at that part. But the thing here, they're showing the elephant removing the mask. They're not showing the dog removing the mask.
Oh, interesting.
So first written account was by Ctesias. This is 5th century BC. He described a civilization, 120,000 dog-headed, dark-skinned men and women.
Who did that? Ctesias?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
He called them, now this is in quotes, swarthy. Again in quotes, with long, hairy tails, living in lofty and inaccessible mountains in India. Again in quotes here, teeth were larger than those of dogs. Their nails were long. Barked like dogs, understood each other. He said they could live up to 200 years, couldn't be defeated in war. Now here's where it gets kind of like, okay, fairy tale-ish, and this is where you kind of start not to believe it. He said some were like shepherds raising sheep and goats. They got the milk from their herds. The richer, there was two classes. The richer ones owned more sheep and more linen. Less richer ones wore tanned, furless skin, animal skins. So they also ate Sipticora, which is a sweet fruit, collected purple flower for dye, and they sent this annually to the king of India in exchange for bread, flour, cotton, and also weapons, which included swords, bows, arrows also. They understood the Indian language, but they could only bark and make hand signs. So they couldn't really respond, but they supposedly understood what the Indian...
They could gesture back and stuff.
For bathing, women bathed monthly, and the men did not at all.
Oof. So, just on that quick list, trading, they collected purple flowers for dye, which then they gave to the king of India.
Yep.
Purple was the... Thanks. All right. I'm following along. Purple was the color of royalty way back when because purple was so very hard to find naturally. Some mollusks or mollusks, I would say, have like a clam or an oyster type creature they'd crush it up, could get purple pigment as well as some flowers as well. So it was always the color of royalty because it was really rare. So that's an interesting thing. But why would a dog-like species want bread, flour, bread and flour and wheat or whatever it was, whatever that was. It didn't. I'm maybe reading if too far into it, thinking they'd be more carnivorous, right? And they maybe want more sheep or pigs or whatever.
Yeah,
but anyway, I'll let you continue because I just wanted to point that out.
But yeah, the purple thing, that's a good point. I never really even looked into that or even thought about that.
Yeah, so to me, that gives it just at least. I wouldn't say necessarily a touch of credibility, but it would make sense if you're offering to royalty in that time frame that something like that would be appropriate.
So there was also Claudius Aelian. He was a Roman author. He wrote detailed counts of animals in the regions, whatever, all the species. So he had the Cynocephali categorized as upright being. Now here's where he said injured no man. So he said these were nice.
Peaceful creatures.
Had no speech, howl. They understood Indian language once again. Ate wild animals for food. And they caught these with ease. But now
they caught the wild animals or eating for food with ease?
Correct.
Okay. You couldn't catch these dog creatures with ease. I see. I'm with you. Yep, I'm with you.
And here's where it gets kind of goofy. Okay, so they exposed these to the sun to cook them.
Made jerky out of them.
Which is fine, but let me get to the list here and you'll wonder why. Okay, they kept goats and sheep, drank the milk, so another coinciding.
Yeah, that's interesting. What was the year difference? Do we know? Something our viewers can look up. We can, but anyway, but there's a time span there. They're obviously not neighbors writing about this. Okay. Sorry.
So, he said their bodies were covered with hair, lived in inaccessible places. Again, hard to catch them. Stripped the shell of a nut intelligently before eating it. They also drank wine and preferred well-seasoned food. Okay. Now it clicked, right?
There's a little bit of a contradiction there, right?
Yeah.
Because they ate wild animals and cooked them in the sunlight. To me, I mean, imagine just, gutting a rabbit and skinning it and letting it dry out. And then at the end, they preferred well-seasoned food.
That's what I don't get, because that sounds like they're like vicious cooking, whatever, out in the sun, but yet they got to have their seasoning.
Yeah,
they got a freaking pleasing.
Well, you know what though, Dan? Here's something for you. You can give a dog old rotted squirrel carcass, or give him a nice, perfectly seasoned sirloin steak, and I'll tell you which one the dog's going to first. So maybe So I prefer well seasoned food, but I could eat that other stuff.
Okay, another account. Alexander the Great. He wrote a letter to Aristotle. Apparently he must have captured them. He said they were fierce, vicious, barking, snarling beasts. Now, is that because they're trying to defend themselves?
Oh, wouldn't you?
But an interesting note here, this was also with this letter, was the manuscript of the famous poem Beowulf, which was about...
I'm not sure what Beowulf is. It's very famous. I've never read it.
Basically the dog thing.
The dog people?
Yeah.
What? I'll have to check that out. That's awesome.
So Marco Polo, 13th century explorer, he said there were barbaric cannibals on the island of Angamia in the Indian Ocean. Men had heads like dogs, teeth, and eyes. Ate anybody they caught not of their own race. So now he's saying that they're vicious and bad.
Yep, and that's not, ate anybody they caught not of their own race. I mean, that went on for centuries as far as killing, and if they were cannibalistic, I could buy that. Heads like dogs.
Yeah. So Christopher Columbus now in Haiti, he talked about a couple ones. So he's talked about men that just had one eye, a cyclops. Mm-hmm. And he also said that there was others with dogs, the noses of dogs.
Yeah.
And he said they beheaded their enemies, drank his blood, and then cut off his private parts. One thing I want to show here too is interesting note. This is Christopher for Saint Christopher. This is depicted with the head of a dog. Why are they using these dog heads?
That is weird.
It's like, what is this trying to represent? This is so embedded in our culture.
Is it? I'm going to save my comment. I gotta.
Sure.
I might have a logical explanation, but I'm going to let you.
Oh, you're saving it.
I'm saving it for right now. I'm going to let you finish because I'm on both sides of this one.
See, that's why I can't go into history too much. So that's why I gave a brief, quick history. Mm-hmm. Now let's get into some modern stuff, right? This is what I'm all about.
Yep.
So first one, in 1887, In Wexford County, 2 lumberjacks encountered a man wolf walking upright. They said it was about 7 feet tall, extremely muscular, howled, but it was like a human scream howl. No evidence on that one, but that was just a good recent one I wanted to mention. But Beast of Bray Road.
I was going to bring that up as well.
So this was in Wisconsin from the 1930s.
I've been down Bray Road before.
Have you really?
Yes. Yep. It's over by West Bend, Milwaukee area, kind of in that general area. Yeah.
Well, we'll watch a video and we'll talk about your extravaganza here too. So if this was in the 1930s and the 1990s, they described more like a werewolf than a dog.
All across the eastern seaboard of Wisconsin along Lake Michigan, when you go from Milwaukee up even towards Door County, there have been repeated sightings of dogmen in that area. I'm a Bigfoot guy. Eastern Wisconsin is mostly dogman.
That's insane. See, I didn't know this stuff. I was like, what the hell?
I know, isn't it cool though? And I never even made the connection that, you know, when I looked at the Egyptian Anubis stuff and things like that there was any connection. And that's what's really interesting to me is I'm starting to think a little differently about the whole thing.
Oh yeah. So this was, interestingly enough, they did an episode on Hannity. So I'm going to play this clip. It's kind of long, but I'm going to pause it. We can make comments between.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
So this is, let's watch this report.
Surrounding woods. In this quintessential American landscape lives a local legend the residents there call the Beast of Bray Road. Now, for over 20 years, the locals there have been telling stories of half-man, half-wolf creatures lurking in the woods of southern Wisconsin. And nobody knows more about this mysterious creature than Linda Godfrey.
Yep.
She is the author of The Beast of Bray Road and has been on the hunt for the elusive creature for 17 years.
Well, back in 1991-92, I was a reporter for an area newspaper. And it came to my attention that people around the small city of Elkhorn, Wisconsin, were beginning to report to our county animal control officer that they were seeing a creature that they could best describe as a werewolf. When I went around to talk to these people, they seemed like good, ordinary, honest citizens. They ranged from junior high students to farmers to elderly people.
So right there, like genuinely people, she can see that she interviewed a lot of these people and that they're genuine in their expressions.
Yep. Yeah, I'm really excited because I've done a lot of independent research into the Beast of Bray Road as it crossed over with the Sasquatch stuff that I've done. It's been repeated. It's been covered decades. This thing's been being seen there, and it's not fitting a description of something that's normally widely reported, isn't it? Isn't it so peculiar? It's I love this topic. This is great, Dan.
It's remained that way to this day.
In her 17 years of hunting down the mysterious beast, Linda has collected over 400 accounts of sightings throughout Wisconsin.
Yeah.
The reports of its appearance are remarkably consistent. Everybody estimates a height between 5 to 7 feet tall, covered with very shaggy fur, a long, sharp muzzle with fangs and very prominent teeth, and often doing things that an ordinary creature wouldn't do. It uses its paws to hold chunks of raw meat. They've described maggoty roadkill. And most startlingly, it uses its hind legs to walk around or run.
Steve Kruger is one of the few people to have a close encounter with the Beast of Bray Road.
So yeah, it's not just like, oh, this is some dog. I mean, people are seeing that this thing's standing on its hind
holding
legs.
stuff. Yeah, and it's holding stuff in its hands to eat it. Yeah.
It was November of 2006. It was approximately 1 o'clock in the morning. I was contracted by the DNR at the time to pick up the roadkill deer alongside the road. It was on Holy Hill Road. I pulled right on over, and I got lifted up the deer, threw it in the back of the truck. I went back into the cab. I had my beacon light on. There were no other cars in sight. I sat down and started to do the paperwork, and I felt the truck shake. At first I thought it was the wind until it shook a second time and it was a little bit more vigorous. When I looked in the rearview mirror, what I saw was a larger black hairy creature. Looked like it was actually reaching into the back end of the truck. It looked like it.
What would be going through your head at that point? Holy crap.
Hey, I know what I would do, and this guy did it. He hammered the gas and got the heck out of Dodge.
Oh my God.
He did come back though. I know that.
By the way, look at what time I just stopped it at.
Oh, weird.
And my start
Did
time,
you do that deliberately?
No, I didn't.
No?
But my start time was 1:11.
Was
Not
it
that
really?
I tried to, but that's actually where I needed to be.
Well, it's a good
Body
episode.
of a bear, but the head was a larger looking type of wolf head with a large muzzle on it, a longer muzzle, and it had pointy ears. At first, it didn't quite hit me right off the bat what it was that I was seeing. It startled me, but the minute I got a clearer look at it after a couple seconds,
And this guy seems genuine.
all I knew is that it was not something I've ever seen before.
He was a DNR worker.
And I've
That's
seen
interesting,
pretty
huh?
much, I thought, every type of animal that there was inside of the state of Wisconsin until that night.
So, yeah.
Those darn coyotes, I tell ya. Pulling full deer out of the back of pickup trucks now.
So, yeah, this is the picture I wanted to show. So, this is the first account that I kind of really heard on the Beast of Bray Road. So, this lady drove by, saw something on the road eating roadkill. When she got up to it, it was kneeling and it had it in its hands.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was eating it like frickin' savage.
That's crazy.
So you were on this road, so how did that...
Oh, it was
Obviously-
so long ago, and I didn't go there to investigate it. I was like, I've been on Bray, and it was the type of deal. Oh crap, that's Bray Road,
And then
Beast of Bray Road. Let's go down it. And it was just a regular. It wasn't
like
really
farmland and stuff.
Yeah, but it's like right off a major interstate.
Yeah.
It's not really that secluded. I mean, southeastern Wisconsin is not the rural area of Wisconsin. That's where I don't even know what percentage of our population lives there, but it's like the vast majority of people in Wisconsin live down there, which is interesting to me that a creature like this lives down here, but not so interesting that you have that amount of sightings. More people, more sightings.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You know?
Yeah, I ran the road on Google Street View. Yeah, it looks like a typical farm road around
it
here.
is. It's good. Gets rural pretty quick. It's not suburban or anything. I'm sure there's been some stuff popping up out there.
Did you look into this?
I did.
I'm sure you did.
That one's a hoax.
I was going to get into that.
Yeah. Okay. But go ahead. But this was convincing for me for a long time.
Yeah. So when I looked at this, I was like, well, that's moving pretty
quick. Yep.
And the way it is, it's not like it doesn't seem like it would be a guy for sure. Like, that would definitely be freaky if you were in that
if you
position.
saw that, you'd freak out.
But yeah, I just looked at
Now, did they have it where it came out closer?
No, because that's where it ends.
Okay. I thought there was one where it came a little closer than that.
The debunking one is. So this dude had all these like old cars and stuff, and he's like, I want to keep the hype going here. He had these old snowmobiles.
Yep, and they're tooling around. And I've seen this one too. Yep. But again, I don't want to be so quick to dismiss the existence of dogmen or dog-headed men based upon some guy that can just throw on a costume and fool people. Doesn't mean that the other stuff
isn't real. And the other thing is, I don't think this is the case this time, but you couldn't escape the case that they do this to debunk it, you know, if it was an actual sighting. But he goes through and shows that
until something a little more unexpected happens.
It's basically
we ran into a creature in the woods,
a ghillie suit,
and they followed it around, and unfortunately it attacked the cameraman. Agrusa wore the costume himself. I had actually found a suit online just off the rack. It's called a ghillie suit, and I thought it looked more realistic as a creature. I was trying to be a werewolf.
So that's like,
well,
it's weird when you watch it because how is he running? He must just be kind of, I don't know if he's running. He's not running his hands on the ground. He's just bent over and.
No, I bet. Yeah, he's probably more bent over than running off his hands. But there's people that can monkey run pretty quick and stuff. But I'm tired of the ghillie suit explanation for everything. Although this. He came forward. Yeah, he came forward and admitted it, but that doesn't mean every time somebody sees a Dogman, that's some guy in a ghillie suit.
It's definitely not beyond the possibility for them to put this out to debunk the original
That's
story.
how you do it, man,
So there was another one I wanted to show. This is Onaway, Michigan, and they snapped a picture of, it almost looks like kind of like a wolf, but we'll let it play here.
This startling image was shot near Onaway, Michigan in 2004.
Okay, that would scare the hell out of me.
The photographer was a young man seated in the back seat of a minivan. He and his parents had been visiting relatives who had been deer hunting that same day and had gutted 2 bucks alongside the driveway. As they went to their car to depart, they heard a low rustling noise and saw movement in the area of the entrails. When they backed up to turn around, the reverse lights illuminated what appeared to be a large dog or wolf. The young man grabbed his digital camera and snapped this image.
And it does kind of just look like
when they arrived
wolf.
home and reviewed the photos, they were shocked to discover that the animal appeared to be standing upright behind a stump or other obstruction, assuming a classic threatening posture.
Oh, yeah.
Photo analysts Jordan Anderson and Terry Pressman both examined this image. Their viewpoints are split. Anderson sees evidence of some digital manipulation, including brush strokes near the arms of the creature, the odd vertical white streak near the lower part of the body, and the disproportionately large head of the animal.
I noticed that too.
Pressman, on the other hand, believes the image to be genuine. He states that the alignment of light sourcing is nearly perfect when one considers the flash reflections on the interior panels of the car and the cast of light on the animal. Pressman believes the brushstrokes are caused by motion, not manipulation. He also points out that no amount of contrasting or filtering of the image can produce evidence of layering or a composite.
So, yeah, there's that.
That would scare the hell out of me if I saw that. But the one thing I want to point out, and that was that in Michigan, that incident?
Yep, I'm in Michigan.
You know, maybe they do things differently in Michigan, but in Wisconsin, when you shoot a deer, well, in the old days, you'd tag it, but then what do?
Gut it.
You don't haul the thing back next to your driveway and throw the guts out next to your driveway.
That's a good point.
Just saying. Maybe they do things differently over there, but why do you want to deal with dragging all that? The first thing you want to do is get the guts out, so they'd be out in the woods. But I wasn't there. Maybe they shot him in the field and decided to throw the four-wheeler out and just drag him back.
Maybe one of the family members or whatever shot it, didn't know how to gut it, so they drug it back.
I've done that my first year of hunting. That's what I had to do.
Okay.
I'd never been shown how to gut a deer, and so
there's that possibility.
Yeah, okay, so I just wanted to point that out.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of basically all I got. I mean, for more of these, you can hear. There's actually a YouTube channel. It's called Dogman Encounters. If you search that on YouTube, bunch of people call into this podcast, tell their story, and it's like there's so many of them. There's over 100 at least on this podcast. I think he quit doing it a while ago. There wasn't any recent ones, but I listened to one. One of the stories was this kid was in his room quickly. He slacked off, didn't want to do a school project until the day of. So he's working all night on it. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. He feels like getting sick, but then he feels like something's watching him too. So then he goes over to the window, looks out the window, and it's like, he sees his reflection because the lights are on his side. Yep. So he kind of looks past that and he's like, I'm still seeing my eyes. He realizes it's not his eyes, they're amber.
Then catching the light and reflecting back at him from something outside.
No, there's this being.
Yeah. Then its eyes are reflecting off of the light that it's catching, right?
Well, he's so close. He's like right up to the window looking, and then he sees that they're amber, and then they turn red.
Yep. And
then he's like, well, what the hell is this? Is like a devil being or something? Then he looks up and he sees something that he thought at first was horns. He realizes it's like dog ears because it turns its head. And then he just gets freaked out, goes under his desk or whatever. I can't remember how long he said he sat under there, but finally he thought something, was going to break into the house.
Oh, yeah.
My mom's going to scream, whatever. Nothing like that ever happened. His window, the house was actually on a riser, so his window was well above a human height would be. That's just one of the many encounters that I listened to on there, but there's all kinds of people calling in, telling their story, and it's like, oh my God, what would you do if you're in that situation? All these people can't be lying. There's something here to this.
You'd sure think so, but we're led to believe by the mainstream that they're all crazy.
Because they don't want to panic. I mean, imagine, there is a dog thing out there that could eat you.
That sneaks into suburban areas and
go crazy.
Peeks through windows and stuff, right?
They'd be like sending the National Guard. Jeez. Maybe we should be going dog hunting instead of Bigfoot hunting.
Oh yeah, it's interesting because in the Sasquatch world too, there's been claims that they've seen these Sasquatch type creatures and watched their eyes change from yellow to green to orange to red and stuff like that. So it's interesting that was in that account too, because if there is a Dogman, easily could be mistaken for a Sasquatch at a distance. Right, something hairy.
But a lot
upright,
of them say that they see
through the woods,
the nozzle.
Yeah, but you know, if you see some humanoid creature covered in hair crossing the road or walking through the woods, you might not pick that up.
And that's kind of what I thought that maybe some of these people were seeing was a Sasquatch. Or here's a one. I'm going to see if I can find it. There's the bears when they walk on the hind legs.
Yep.
That, you know, if you saw that from a distance, that doesn't look right either. I just watched one the other day. Here it is.
Yep. But the one thing, you know, from a Sasquatch point of view is Sasquatch are always appeared to have broad shoulders, long legs, and that doesn't look like it. But you know what? Looking at that, you'd be like, what the heck is that? But that is not a long gait. It doesn't have a long stride. It doesn't have the broad shoulders.
Yeah, that's definitely...
You know, it could be mistaken, absolutely. But if I saw that, there's no way I would think that was a Sasquatch. I'd be, oh my God, it's a bear on its hind legs.
It's kind of cool seeing it, though.
Yep.
Oh my God.
That would be kind of cool to see.
It would be.
But definitely not Sasquatch.
Yeah, this is the better one.
So he got injured front paws is what's going on?
Yep. He couldn't walk on his... He looks a little skinny there, too.
Yeah, I'm sure he's having trouble finding food. He must got hit by a car or something, you think? Was that a dog out there running around?
It kind of looked like it.
Good for him. I like that bear. He's cool.
I like how it's like... It looks like he's got saggy pants on.
Yeah, he's kind of like dopey walking around.
But yeah, so there it is. I mean, why go back in history? Why is there so many tales of dog-headed men? The thing I will say about the recent ones that we have, it seems like the whole thing is for not the ones in the past. They would always say that
just the
like
head
hands were human. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So yeah, with that being said,
cool. Thanks, Lauren. That was a fun topic. I enjoyed that.
It was awesome. Yep. If you guys have any more things that you think are really cool that we should really cover and put to the head of the line, I'll try to do that when you call in, because that gives it all the more amped, and then maybe I'll let you guys do one this other time.
Sure.
So yeah, with all that being said, thank you for joining me, Pete. We'll get that sign.
Yes. And, one last look at the sign.
Enter the contest.
You can win. Call us in.
Call in. And give us a new slogan. See you later.